Dear students, now we are going to discuss the relationship between two factors which are able to decide water potential values. And what is the relationship of water potential with the rest of the factors also. For example, this is a plant cell. Take one plant cell. So into this plant cell, plant cell, only solutes are transported. Only solutes are moving into that cell. So into this cell, only solutes are moving. For example, only solute molecules, either organic or inorganic. So if solutes are transported into that one, definitely what about the concentration of solutes increasing? Means solute molecules. Number of solute molecules increasing. If a number of solute molecules are increasing, what about a psi S solute potential negative value increases? And what about the value of psi S value decreases? If psi S value is becoming more negative, definitely what about psi W negative value increases? If psi W negative value is increasing, what about a psi W value decreases? So remember, what are the out of these two? What are the conditions which are directly proportional, inversely proportional? With the help of arrows, you can understand. So these two are directly proportional. And what about these two inversely proportional? And these two are inversely proportional. And solute level and psi W inversely proportional. Next, take one more cell. Into this cell, only solvent. For example, water. Only solvent is moving into that one. So what about concentration of water? First, take a concentration of water. Concentration of H2O molecules. Means number of H2O molecules increasing. If a number of H2O molecules are increasing, what about turgor pressure? Turgor pressure increasing. So positive hydrostatic pressure increases. So here only solvent is moving. And what about psi S value? Psi S negative value or its value remains constant. There is no change. Reason only solvent is transported. So if only solvent is transported, turgor pressure is increasing. What about psi W negative value declines? And what about psi W value increases? And what about free energy? Because of movement of water molecules, free energy also increased. And here also, what are the conditions? Directly proportional and inversely proportional. Okay. So remember this one. Next. Next, what is imbibition? Now we are going to discuss imbibition. So imbibition means absorption of water. Absorption of water by absorption of water or solvent. Absorption. Don't take adsorption, it is absorption. Absorption of water by hydrophilic substances or colloids. Absorption of water by hydrophilic colloids such as proteins and carbohydrates particularly. Okay, so absorption of water by hydrophilic colloids, retention of water and absorption of water by hydrophilic colloids is called as a imbibition. So in plants, the best example is shown by, means imbibition is shown by dry plant materials, dry seeds and dried wooden or dried wooden pieces. So in seed and wood, if they are properly dehydrated, definitely. What about the wet weight? Very less. Dry weight is more. So definitely seeds and wood are very thirsty or not. They are able to take up a lot of water. They can absorb it. For example, dry seed is dropped into water. It is able to absorb water. So imbibition is one type of diffusion only. So imbibition is a type of simple diffusion, a diffusion. So it is a passive process. Simple diffusion or a facilitated diffusion also. If it is through the dead regions, non-living regions, without aquaporins, it is simple diffusion. Overall, it is a diffusion. So here, what is the driving force? One, psi delta, water potential gradient is required. Water potential gradient. Okay, so or more water, less water difference is required. Next, affinity between imbibant and liquid absorbed by it. Imbibant means a material which is able to take up the liquid. Affinity is required. For example, if seed is dropped into castor oil, definitely there will be no absorption of castor oil by seed. Reason, there is no affinity. Seed versus water, yes, affinity is present. Okay, adhesive forces, cohesive forces required. Particularly adhesive forces are mandated. Particularly, so affinity between imbibant and imbibable liquid. That is mandatory. And concentration gradient required. That is a water potential gradient we can take. Okay, so these are the requirements. So what about the magnitude of the potentiality of imbibition? For example, take a seed. For example, this is a seed. Water is absorbed by the seed at the time of germination. Okay, so for the germination of seed, compulsory imbibition is mandated. So once water is absorbed by that seed, what about the volume of the seed? So volume of the seed increases, or the size of the seed increases, volume increases, or size increases. Size increases. Okay, so here some pressure is created because of entry of water molecules. Some pressure is created, that is a positive hydrostatic pressure. That pressure is imbibitional pressure. Imbibitional pressure. Okay, so that is with a high magnitude, means powerful. That's why the seed, because of imbibitional pressure, definitely it is able to cause, that pressure is able to cause a rupture in the seed coat. So imbibitional pressure leads to what? A rupture in the seed coat. Seed coat ruptured, or dehiscence of seed coat, and it leads to what? Emergence of a seedling. So this is a radical part, and this one is a plumule part. So for the germination of seed and establishment of seedling, imbibition is very, very important. It plays an important role in the germination of the seed and a successful establishment of a seedling in the soil. So that is the importance of imbibition in this case. So in this case, it plays an important role in seed germination. Seed germination and establishment of a seedling. Okay, so once water is absorbed, definitely it leads to what? Elongation of the cell. Elongation of the cell leads to what? Growth and development. If you go back to growth and development, cell division, elongation of the cell, cell differentiation. These are the events during growth and development. So imbibition is very, very important for seed germination. And prehistoric human beings, in the olden days, we used to break, our grandparents used to break rocks and timber with the help of imbibition. For example, this is a rock or a wood. Okay, so along the length of that wood, make certain number of holes. Okay, so into the hole, each and every hole is fitted with a dried wooden piece. Dried wooden piece. Insert a dried wooden piece into that. Okay, so those are red colored one. All these are wooden pieces inserted into all those holes. Now it is gradually sprinkled with water, added with water, add some amount of water regularly. So definitely that water is absorbed by dried wooden pieces, and it leads to what? Creation of imbibitional pressure, swelling of that wood. In the rainy season, what about a dried wood which is not properly painted? Definitely that is able to absorb water. So it will be very difficult to close the door. That is because of imbibition work. So swelling of all these wooden pieces leads to what? Splitting of that rock along the area where we made certain number of holes. So that is about old method of old practice to break rocks and timber, right? So that is about importance of imbibition in our life activities, particularly for this one, seed germination. It's very, very important. For example, in the case of pinus seeds, pinus seeds are able to germinate with the help of imbibition, performed by mycorrhiza. We will see that one under the heading transport in plants, particularly long distance transport. In pinus seeds, for example, this is a pinus seed. And around this mycorrhiza is well known to you. Mycorrhiza means the association between fungi and root system, or simply here, fungi, a number of fungi, mycorrhiza. So that mycorrhiza is able to absorb water, and that water is supplied to seed. There also the phenomena is imbibition only. Next one, what about imbibing capacities of various hydrophilic colloids? What are they? Imbibing capacities of various hydrophilic colloids. Okay, so highest imbibing capacity. First, ascending order. Ascending order on the base of imbibing capacities of three compounds. Three types. What are they? First one, cellulose. I'm taking least imbibing capacity. Least imbibing capacity. For example, take a pure cotton shirt, pure cellulosic. How much amount of water is retained by that? Very less. Next. Second one, starch. Maida or wheat flour, for example, that is rich in carbohydrates. Other than cellulose, starch, intermediate. So when compared with cellulose, starch is with more imbibing capacity. So you can take intermediate capacity. And the last one, protein with the highest imbibing capacity, highest imbibing capacity. So this is ascending order on the base of their imbibing capacity. Same quantity, 100 grams, 100 grams, 100 grams. Same mass, same quantity. Out of these two, which one is able to hold lot of water? Protein. So that's why, for example, cotton shirt dropped into pure water. There is no swelling. So swelling is 0 in that case, or 0 or less. But what about in the case of wheat? For example, wheat is with starch or various sativa. Wheat or various cereals. Wheat grains. Okay, so in this case, swelling is no swelling. Or little bit tone, negligible swelling. Yes, swelling is present. Means increase in the size. But what about Fabaceae, protein, pulses? Pulses means rich in protein. That is a Bengal gram, Senagalu. Okay, So what about so-called Bengal gram or pulses? They're rich in proteins. So what about in this case, more swelling, highest swelling or highest swelling? Reason, they are rich in proteins. So that's about imbibing capacities of various hydrophilic colloids. They're able to take up water. Hydrophilic colloid means a biomolecule, in this case, able to absorb and able to retain water. So that is about imbibition, right? Now, what about long distance transport in plants? How plants are able to transport water up to 100 meters, 120 meters, or 100 feet or 200 feet. Okay, so tallest gymnosperm. If you go back to gymnosperms, tallest gymnosperm, Sequoia dendron giganteum. In the case of angiosperms, eucalyptus, they're able to grow up to 120, 130 meters, tall trees. So how plant is able to transport water up to that height, even though they are not having so-called transporting systems, tissue system present. There is no organ system and there is no digestive system. There is no transporting system. But with the help of xylem and phloem, they are able to transport up to that much. Okay, so what about long distance transport? Long distance transporting plants. So here, what are the experiments? One experiment was given. For example, this is a cut end, a twig. A twig means a branch. Okay, so root system removed. Root system removed, and that is with white colored flowers. So this is a flower, white petals, white colored petals. So this was very oldest experiment. And this twig is inserted into a beaker with blue or red color, or here I'm using red color solution, red color. And leave this one like that for 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours. If you observe anatomically, definitely, what about the red color passing through the stem? And what about that white colored petals will turn into red color. So we can trace out by taking a section. For example, this is a transverse section of that stem. Definitely at the center, you'll find a red colored dot. So that path, this red colored path indicates that that color is transported through the xylem, particularly through the xylem. So this is the oldest experiment. Now, what are the mechanisms required for the transportation of water up to that much height? So here, simple diffusion, which is concerned with a short distance only. Simple diffusion is insufficient. Not only simple diffusion, simple, facilitated, cytoplasmic streaming movement. Simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and a cytoplasmic streaming movement, which is assisted by consumption of ATP molecule. Cytoplasmic streaming means movement of cytoplasm around the vacuole. So these two are concerned with a short distance only. These three are concerned with a short distance only. So they can support a long distance up to some extent only. Short distance transport. So according to this statement, passive insufficient. Passive means simple diffusion, phase-led diffusion, and active transport, cytoplasmic streaming moment. These two are insufficient. So one example was, for example, this is a plant cell. This is a plant cell. For example, the length of this cell is a plant cell. Okay, so plant cell, and its length is 50 micrometers in length. The length of that plant cell is 50 micrometers. So by means of simple diffusion for the transportation of water, now water is transported across the cell lengthwise, for example. Water by means of a simple diffusion. For the transportation of water across a typical plant cell whose length is 50 micrometers, the time consumed is 2.5 seconds. See how much, it's a very smallest cell, 50 micrometers on. So now time required for 1 meter travel of water by simple diffusion. So how to calculate? So how many days will it take for transportation of water up to 1 meter distance? How much time is required? How many days required? How many years required? Okay, so 1 meter is equal to 1 meter with 10 lakh micrometers. Okay, so now 10 lakh micrometers by length of one cell. How much? 50. Okay, so like that, if total distance divided by the length of one cell, what about the length of how many cells we can accommodate within 1 meter length? First, calculate total number of cells. See, simply 10 lakh micrometers divided by length of one cell. You'll get a total number of cells that can be accommodated in 1 meter length. So 10 lakh divided by 50. So we will get 20,000 cells. 20,000 cells. So within 1 meter distance, what about the total number of cells, plant cells can be accommodated? 20,000 cells. So now take 20,000 cells. How many cells? Total number of cells? 20,000 cells. If all these 20,000 cells are arranged end to end, we'll get a 1 meter length of cells. Per cell, what about the time required? 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds. So how much time consumed? 20,000 into, 20,000 into 2.5 seconds. How many seconds? 50,000 seconds. 50,000 seconds. And change that 50,000 seconds into minutes. So 50,000 by 60 seconds. We'll get a minutes. Convert that one into minutes. How many minutes? 833.33 minutes. Okay, next. Continue with hours here. 833.33 hours. Okay, so divided by, yeah, 1 minute, seconds, minutes. Now, minutes, sorry, minutes. Convert this one into hours. 60. So what about the value? 13.88 hours. And convert that one into days. Per day, how many hours? 24 hours. Wait. Okay, so the value is 0.578 days. 0.57 days. And what they asked? Years they are asking. And divide this one by 365 days. So what about the value for that? 365 days. So the value is 0.0015 days. So it was given, just one question was given. So this is a way to answer or follow your own method. Okay, so 0.0015 years, sorry. It was years. That much time is consumed. Okay, right? 1 minute, hang on. Okay. So that much number of years required to transport water up to just 1 meter. So according to this calculation, simple diffusion is insufficient to transport water up to a plant whose height is 100 meters or 200 meters. It may take a lot of time. By the time water reaches to the tip of the plant where more water is required, definitely that plant will die. So here, simple diffusion is able to transport water up to short distances only. Facilitate diffusion also up to certain extent. Cytoplasmic streaming moment. Give an example in your textbook. Cytoplasmic streaming moment. What is cytoplasmic streaming moment? Moment of cytoplasm. Generally, in eukaryotes, cytoplasm is not static, transported from one cell to other cell through the plasmadesmata. So in the case of cytoplasm, two types of movements are possible. One is rotation and circulation. What is rotation? Movement of water around the cytoplasm, around the vacuole. If the cell is having only one vacuole, the direction of movement is either clockwise or anti-clockwise, one direction only, either clock or anti-clock. If the cell is having more than one vacuole, around one vacuole clockwise, other vacuole anti-clockwise. Simultaneously, both clockwise possible, anti-clockwise possible. That is called as a circulation. Rotation means cell with one vacuole and movement of cytoplasm in one direction. Circulation possible in a cell with more than one vacuole. There, around one vacuole, one direction, other vacuole, some other direction. So simply remember, cytoplasmic streaming moment is presenting cells of a hydra plant given, hydrilla plant. We can observe chloroplast moment. It was given there. So definitely, simple diffusion is insufficient according to that calculation. Now, what type of mechanism is required? Definitely, it is not a active transport. Definitely, it is a passive transport. What is that passive transport? What is translocation? Transportation of various materials from one location to other location through the vascular tissues. Xylem is concerned with the transportation of water, inorganic nutrients, and some extent organic nutrients, particularly organic nitrogen, some extent, phytohormones also. Phloem is concerned with the transportation of water, carbohydrates, hormones, and trace amount of inorganic components also. So here, what about a long distance transport is achieved by a mechanism that is called as a bulk flow mechanism. Bulk or mass flow, mass flow mechanism. That is because of a pressure gradient only. Pressure gradient means definitely passive transport. So bulk or mass flow is by pressure gradient. Pressure gradient or difference. So if it is because of a pressure gradient, definitely a passive transport only. Now we have to understand what is a bulk or mass flow mechanism. Means water, inorganic nutrients are moving en mass, a group, irrespective of their concentration and with pressure differences, a number of molecules are moving en mass movement. For example, this is a river. And this is the direction of movement of that water body. Okay, so on the surface of this water body, a number of materials are present. Leaves, for example, a number of leaves, different sizes, wooden pieces, plastic, a number of materials are present. So all these materials, irrespective of their number, all these are moving with en mass, That movement is with the same pace. Same pace means same velocity. Same velocity. All are moving together, en mass movement. If you observe on the surface of the running water, definitely all molecules, irrespective of their size. Molecule means various materials which are in either suspended condition or floating or a dissolved condition. And definitely the molecule which is in dissolved, we can't observe. The material which is not dissolved, suspended, floating on the water surface, best one. Definitely you can visualize that one. What about the rate of movement of all these same pace? They are moving along with the water movement. Same velocity or not? Unlike this one, unlike a simple diffusion. What is simple diffusion? It is not en mass. For example, this is here I'm taking a membrane, for example. Okay, so this is a substrate 1, substrate molecules. For example, A type of substrate, more number of substrate molecules. Here, less number of A type of substrates. B type of substrates. B. Okay, C also equal. So now go back to simple diffusion. What about the rate of movement or direction of movement of molecules according to simple diffusion? More to less, down the gradient. So here concentration gradient is in between A type of molecules only, not between B type of molecules and C type of molecules. So here there is no movement of net movement or movement of B molecules and C molecules. Here the movement is according to their own concentration gradient. Only A molecules are transported. But what about the moment of B and C at equilibrium? No moment. Come back here, irrespective of their sizes, concentration, whatever it is, all these molecules are moving n mass, a group. But what about that one? Random movement. And according to their own concentration gradient only movement of A molecules, but not B and C molecules. Okay, if it is a bulk flow pressure gradient, what type of pressure is involved? Here, two questions. One is that mass flow or a bulk flow by means of pressure. What type of pressure? The question is, what type of pressure? Is it a positive hydrostatic pressure or negative hydrostatic pressure? So question one is bulk flow or mass flow, n mass moment is either, first one, positive hydrostatic pressure by either positive hydrostatic pressure. What is that? Positive hydrostatic pressure? For example, garden hose pipe, that is sprinkler. Electrical motor, water is pushed into that pipe, water pipe. So what about that water, pushed or not? Positive. So positive hydrostatic pressure means it is a pushing. So n mass moment is either pushing or second one, pulling. That is a negative hydrostatic pressure. That here it is pulling. For example, here suction through straw. For example, with the help of straw, we are taking thumbs up or some cool drink or not. So that is a pulling. Push positive, pulling negative. Out of these two, which one is responsible for long distance transport? So before that, we should know what about apoplast and sympplast moment, and what about anatomy of root, and what about the direction of movement of water before moving into whether it is a positive hydrostatic pressure or negative hydrostatic pressure. If you go back to introduction part to understand transport in plants, knowledge in cell and anatomy is mandatory. Now go back to anatomy. What is the apoplast moment and a sympplast moment? Okay, so transportation, we can divide transportation into two categories. What are they? One is apoplast moment. Apoplast transportation. So what are the structures which are involved in apoplast moment? So here transportation is through non-living areas, non-living parts. What are the non-living areas? One, cell wall. And intercellular spaces. Intercellular spaces. Intercellular space is not part of the cell, but definitely cell wall is part of that one. So movement of it is a network of non-living regions, no restrictions, no barrier. Cell wall is not a barrier, permeable, free transportation. So in the case of apoplast moment, barriers are absent. Even though cell wall is a barrier, it provides free movement, permeable one only. Okay, so definitely apoplast is passive mechanism only. It is not active mechanism. Right? Next, second one, simplest. After understanding of apoplast and simplest, what are the zones and regions in your root system with a apoplast and simplest mandate? So here given one cell wall, except one statement. Cell wall means except Casparian bands or strips of endodermis. Go back to anatomy. What are the Casparian strips? Casparian scientists identified a suberized coatings. For example, this is endodermis. This is endodermis of root. Go back to anatomy. Endodermis. So maximum region of endodermis is with a suberized coating. Suberized. So excessive suberin is present. Suberin is a waxy coating that is impermeable to water. So maximum part is suberized, except certain areas. For example, here no suberized cell. It's a normal cell without Casparian band. Here also no Casparian. Here also no Casparian. That blue colored one is with a suberin coating. Suberized, both tangential and radial walls, both horizontal and vertical walls, suberized. And what about this one? Without suberin, suberin is absent. And these cells are called as passage cells. Passage cells. First year part. In first year you studied this one. Endodermis is with two types of cells. Cells with Casparian bands, cells without Casparian bands. Okay, so cells without Casparian bands are called as passage cells. Passage, concerned with the transportation. So apoplast is not applicable to Casparian strips, means cells with Casparian bands. Okay, so it is not applicable to that one. Reason, so-called Casparian bands or strips are impermeable to water. So Casparian cells with Casparian bands are impermeable to water. Cell wall is impermeable. Reason, suberin is present. So apoplast is not applicable to cells with Casparian bands. In the rest of the areas, it is applicable. And what is simplest? Transportation of materials through the living regions. What are the living regions? So transportation of water through living regions. Living areas. What are the living areas? One, protoplasm or cytoplasm. First take plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. So by means of apoplast, water is able to move across the cell wall and not able to pass through the membrane. Reason, that is the simplest movement. That will come under simplest. Okay, so the delimiting areas of apoplast is cell wall and intercellular spaces only. So plasma membrane, protoplasm or cytoplasm. You can use cytoplasm also. Next, plasmadesmata. Plasmadesmata. What are the plasmadesmata? Cytoplasmic bridges. Cytoplasmic bridges, which are connected through pits. Cytoplasmic bridges. Simply, plasmadesmata is nothing but cytoplasmic extension between cells concerned with intercellular transportation of materials. Intercellular transportation of materials. Okay, so that is about simplest. Now here, one diagram was given in your textbook. What are they? One by one. First one, this is epidermal cell. Epidermal cell means definitely parenchymatous with cell wall. And this area is a living part. So this is a epidermis, epidermal cell. Generally, epidermis is parenchymatous, maximum extent. So this red colored one is cell wall and remaining is a living part. Okay. So in this case, the movement of water through the cell wall and in between the space present between cell wall and plasma membrane, that is apoplast movement. So here water is not crossing the cell wall. Okay, plasma membrane. If it is crossing the cell membrane, that is simplest movement. And the next cell, cortex, cortical cell, and it's protoplast. Protoplast. Here connections are present. What are they? Plasma desmata. Simplest or not? So red colored one, simply remember red colored one. Cell wall, apoplast. Next, after cortex, endodermis. So here given one is this one, Casparian band. Means Casparian cell. This is endodermis part. This is a transfer section of root. Okay, so this one is a cortical cell, cortex. So in the case of cortical cell, apoplast possible, simplast possible through the cell wall. Epidermis, cortex. In these two cases, both are apoplast less simplast, both are possible. So epidermis, living parenchymatous cell with cell wall and cell membrane. So in that case, apoplast, simplast, both are possible. And what about cortex? Definitely that is also parenchymatous. There also apoplast, simplast possible. Now the question is endodermis. So this region is endodermis. Okay, so here this one is Casparian band, Casparian strip, suberized, one type of wax, suberin. So this one is a Casparian. So Casparian band or strip is impermeable to water. So in Casparian cell wall, here no apoplast, not possible, no permission. Reason that is a wax. So in this case, here cell, what type of cell? This is a passage cell. Passage cell. What is this passage cell? Without Casparian bands. So in this case, apoplast possible, simplast also possible. So in the case of passage cell, apoplast, simplast. But what about in the case of Casparian cell? No apoplast, but simplast is possible. Reason that is in living condition. So passage cell with a apoplast less simplast, both are possible. And Casparian cell, both are in living condition. Casparian cell, only simplast. Apoplast not possible. Reason, Casparian bands are impermeable to water. Okay, so next, pericycle. Here pericycle. For example, here pericycle. Pericycle. In pericycle, what is pericycle? Parenchymatous. In the case of pericycle, both apoplast, simplast possible. So this one is pericycle. Next, after that, this region is a xylem part. For example, this is a vessel or trachea. Vessel or trachea. So this is a xylem part. Once the water is in the xylem vessel, Definitely upward movement or not? Upward movement. Okay, so here it is 100% apoplast only. What about xylem vessel, dead or not? Only cell wall and lumen. So 100% apoplast only. Reason, xylem vessel is dead cell. Membrane absent, cytoplasm absent, represented by cell wall and lumen. So 100% apoplast, right? So that's about first diagram given in the textbook. Next one, what about a transverse section of a root? Now we have to compare the diagram with a transverse section here. Take a TS of root. For example, this is a transverse section of a root. Epidermal tissue system. So epidermis. From this epidermis, certain number of epidermal cells, root hair. Root hairs are exogenous in origin, ephemeral, short-lived, unicellular. Root hair. Okay, so here we are going to understand what direction of movement of water only. Initially, I'm taking water only. Water is absorbed by so-called root hair. Here, root hair is not only concerned with absorption of water, minerals also. First, minerals, creation of concentration gradient, more minerals, less number of minerals. Okay, now water is passively transferred into root hair. So in the case of root hair, both apoplast, symplast, both are possible. Apoplast and symplast. So use a arrow, that is direction, a line through the root hair, epidermis. So next one. So this one is cortical cell. So in the cortex, what about the arrangement of cells? Loosely packed, loosely packed. Massive cortex is present. So now intracellular spaces. Okay. Loose parenchymatous tissue. So this one is cortex. So in the cortex, cells are loosely packed. So that's why restrictions are very less. So in cortex, more apoplast. Reason, intracellular spaces. For example, sand and clay. Sand, clay. What about the rate of percolation of water in sandy soil and clay? In the case of sandy soil, percolation of water into sand particles, very fast or not, unlike clay particles. As clay particles are compactly arranged, what about the rate of movement of water or percolation? So to bottom, penetration means passing through. What about rate of penetration of water molecules into clay and sand? So sandy soil particles are loosely packed. So more rate of movement like that. As general cortex is with more intercellular spaces, more apoplast, less symplast. Less symplast. Next, for example, this is the endodermis. Endodermal part. Okay, here is the passage cell. Passage cell, this one. That from there, water into pericycle and finally into xylem. So that's about movement of water, direction of movement of water from soil to so-called xylem. So overall, in the root, out of stele and cortex, more cortex is present, more massive cortex, more cortex, less stele. So that's why in the case of root, in root, as the root is with more cortex, in root system, apoplast is more apoplast and less simplest. Okay, so here we understood the direction of movement of water only. What about the real mechanism by means of which water, minerals are transported from the root system, from the xylem of root system to the tip of that shoot system? Some other mechanism is required. What is that mechanism? Whether it is a pulling or pushing. So the long standing question is that is regarding long distance transport is that n mass movement, whether it is by means of push or pull. So we have to answer that question that n mass movement is whether it is by means of pushing or pulling. We will see that one in the next class. Okay.